Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And Bluedragonfive. Over 10 years ago, as the Dark Knight changed things forever, we lost the actor who made it happen. Heath Ledger delivered the ultimate performance that left us eternally wanting more. And while we all thought we saw the last of his betrayal as the Clown Prince of Crime, two men unearthed amazing footage of what he might have done next.
The job falls on us to comb over the files and documented exploits of Patient 4479 in this ultimate tribute to the role of a lifetime. Let's start with today's session. Therapy begins. Okay, so Dragon, I want you right off the bat to just explain the lengths that you went through to get me to this point, the grand plan of it all. Dragon, I want you to picture like you're on Survivor, and this is your winning jury speech. Like, pitch to me why you deserve to win the game of getting Tiki to this point, Dragon.
All right, well, some things I might be saving for down the line. I'm going to give you the majority here.
Fair enough.
All right. So I can't officially say it was from the very, very beginning of the animated Batcave, but at the very least it was it was basically maybe towards the halfway point of season 1 where it came into fray of I wanted to pitch this to you, but I realized Tiki, hence the animated Batcave, Tiki doesn't know enough about Batman, particularly the animated series.
I needed an education. I'm like the opposite of the Pink Floyd song, Dragon.
Yes. Yes. And essentially, there's a lot of animated series stuff. I mean, as you can tell just by the premise alone, obviously the mad love of it all. So because of that, I needed to get you to that point. So basically it was a matter of figuring out when to, I would turn our little show. I'm pretty sure it wasn't from the beginning. I'm pretty sure during that halfway point, like we were just doing animated Batcave because it was fun. And then it kind of occurred to me, like, okay, so logically we'd get to an endpoint with the animated Batcave, and by that point, logically, by essentially Mad Love, which basically puts us at the end of New Batman Adventures, you would be all caught up with everything you need. Basically, Tiki, you, assuming I rewatched the entire thing just to be sure in preparation for this, preparation for the start here. Yeah, you by the end of this series, by the end of the Joker blogs, you will know every reference but one.
But one. Ooh, boy. Okay.
If you're smart enough, you can probably figure it out. But by the same token, it's pretty much you've been prepped and primed for every reference.
Are we gonna make a running gag out of me trying to guess which reference?
I don't know. It's a small reference, but it'll definitely stand out, and you'll be the one you don't know.
Fair enough.
Between the animated series and pretty much the movies that we have covered up to this point, you'll know.
Gotcha.
So, and let me put it this way, in terms of the lengths, I mean, we did the Fan Fest. I was very close to announcing the Joker blogs on that, but then I stuck to the guns on, the end point. And essentially, Harley Quinn and Joker versus the real world, smokescreen.
Oh, boy.
Which, of course, dovetailed into our coverage of JGI, so...
And JGI, my God, Dragon, that helped grow the channel significantly, so,
Again, JGI, the ultimate smokescreen, but... turned into a very again that exceeded the coverage of all the sketches that exceeded my expectations.
Absolutely. I feel like what we did for them was I feel like it was a very mutually beneficial relationship that we forged with them.
And of course, the irony forged through the Joker, which brings us to today's topic. So, synergy.
All right, so Dragon, what's the context behind this? Because I got to tell you, man. I do remember watching a couple of these. I don't think I ever dived too deep into it. I think at the most I probably maybe got a few in. But yeah, I'm excited to go through this just as a story, just chronologically. But what's the background you got on it?
Sure. Also, just a little side note. I think the biggest challenge through all these years in preparing for this, by the way, I had to, again, with, like, Harley Quinn and Joker versus the real world of it all, I had to throw you off the scent with a lot of things, hence the smoke screen. So keeping you away from engaging whether or not you've seen this show. That was probably the biggest challenge.
Oh, God. Yeah.
But, anyway, so here's why, essentially why, the roots of the Joker blogs with kind of our first episode here, our inaugural episode. So, okay, so two guys, hence the title, hence our little intro. Two men. So Scott McClure and Andrew DeVary are the showrunners behind this, the writers and the directors on this series. They, they're actors, and I believe DeVary's more writer than actor, but he's acted alongside them. These are kind of a duo, if you will. And Scott McClure is quite the impressionist. So by the time The Dark Knight's coming out in trailer form, he has kind of mastered the impression of the Heath Ledger Joker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. So the story goes very simply. They were they were in love with the Joker in those trailers, and essentially
as everyone was, yeah,
absolutely. We were all very obsessed with it. So unlike so basically Scott McClure, back when you could do this before things went to heck, Scott McClure. He cosplayed as the Heath Ledger Joker to the premiere, and as you can tell...
Oh, man. Yeah, I did as well, Dragon. I did as well.
But as you can tell, watching this, the resemblance is quite scarily uncanny.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they attended the Dark Knight premiere, and basically in the back of their minds, they were thinking they wanted to do something with the Heath Ledger Joker. So they were contemplating the series, but weren't exactly sure until... They weren't sure story-wise where to go with it until they saw the actual film. So they go to the premiere, he's in costume. The resemblance, very uncanny, and definitely sparks the response of people as being gobsmacked at the premiere by him at times.
And
of course, I'm sure the impression when engaged, I'm sure it came in handy as well in that. So they watch the film, and then they're kind of like driving back from the premiere, and they're kind of like it's their bat crashing through the window moment of, it's such a tragedy. There's going to be no more Heath Ledger Joker to see where this character would go, which kind of leads to the idea. Of let's do this. Let's basically, now that we know he ends up presumably at Arkham as he tends to do, and let's tell this story through found footage. Which, remember, the other movie that came out in 2008, Tiki, as you well know,
Paranormal Activity, bro,
and
Chronicle.
Well, I mean,
what else? What else? Sorry,
it's your big one, Tiki. It's the one you know very intimately.
Found footage, Cloverfield.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Paranormal Activity and Cloverfield were very much the models of the two.
Yeah, for sure.
Movie. Particularly, I assume more so Cloverfield, but so basically that's kind of where they were getting the inspiration. Well, yeah, let's do found footage if there's any imperfections.
I mean, let's face it, Dragon. They were really pulling their inspiration from Cloverdale. I mean, we all know that's the better of the two.
Sure.
But all right.
Anyway, so again, the premise basically being for the show being. Everyone wants to change the Joker while he's in Arkham, but much like Batman, of course, Joker is a static and a constant. It's the immovable force meets it's the unstoppable force meets the immovable object.
Yeah.
Clearly. So, of course, these two are constants. You're never going to be able to change them. That's why we love them. So, hence the premise. What if the Joker decided to help and change them instead? So, So of course there was a film edited together. Unfortunately, Tiki, I cannot show you that film. I'm saying if you were to go on YouTube, which I don't. Again, basically, folks, the way this works is Tiki. It kind of works like a sealed envelopes Oscar situations here. So I send Tiki the episodes in advance. Trying to protect him from any spoilers.
Very secretive.
Very serious about it. So basically, Tiki is sent the episodes so he can basically go on the journey as I did 12 years ago.
Oh my god. Gonna kind of try and replicate some of that animated Batcave magic, Dragon.
In a sense, yes. And anyway, so there is a film version of this, which is an actual polished film, which unfortunately you cannot find on YouTube with all the good added bits that are from the film. It's not a lot, it's just like kind of a buffer and an extra episode kind of fit into it. But it's definitely it's re-edited like a film, being the point. So you take out like the little intro and like little therapy begins part at the top and stuff like that. So all I'm going to tell you is that there's like a prologue text at the top, which basically kind of spells out what is kind of they address in the next episode, just to kind of talk about it here briefly. So had you watched the movie version, you get like a prologue text, like documentary text at the end of a film or a biopic that says, basically, in the aftermath of the Dark Knight, after Joker's arrest, there was a court battle, and they're trying to determine Joker's sanity, whether he's going to be sent to Arkham Asylum or Blackgate, hence the therapy, to determine that fact.
Gotcha.
And the tapes leaked online from within Arkham Asylum months later.
Ooh, I like the leaked online element. That definitely adds kind of like a modern day sort of like cyber terrorism element.
Let me put it to you this way. There's like a Breaking Bad quality in that it takes 3 to be addicted to the Joker blogs, okay? So get ready for the next 2. They're going to really... things are going to heat up.
I'm excited.
So that's pretty much all we need to go through on the kind of the origins of the series. And I guess the last thing, just to explain to folks, we're talking about... So the Joker blogs reached the YouTube partnership after essentially the first batch of episodes. And when they did that, they went back and they reshot the pilot, which essentially is exactly what we're talking about here. It's just a little more like, he has actually naturally long grown out hair.
Yeah, a little bit more cinematic. I feel like the line delivery and the pacing is a little bit more smoothed out.
More natural, because again, he's experienced by that point, just going back and reshooting it. So again, it's literally the same episode, but this is the more polished, kind of more cohesive version, because pretty much it looks like it lines up with episode 2.
Just for the record, Dragon, I did watch the pilot a couple times, and I gotta say, the rough quality of the pilot almost kind of adds to the creepy factor.
There's definitely a lot of creep factor, especially in the first, let's just say the first 8 episodes. There's a really grounded, creepy element to it, which I think you're going to enjoy. But all that said, I think you're all caught up on episode 1. So let's dive into it finally.
Okay, so Arkham Asylum Psychiatric Rehabilitation Program, patient number 4479, property of Dr. H. Quinzel. The following recordings are for the express purpose of medical research and is the sole property of the hospital staff and its facilities. We see on a title card. Let's go, Dragon. I'm hyped.
Oh, you're going to see that pop up a lot at the top of these. But then changes will happen, but you'll see. All right, so so Joker is this episode he's talking about the purpose of therapy and pretty much setting up the series. That's kind of the overall. It's kind of what therapy begins is. So after we get the disclaimer, which already has that eerily crappy video quality, like we're fritzing out and we have like the little.
That's one of the things that I really love about this is that it genuinely feels like something that my friends and I could have done, but not in a bad way, like in a good way, where it's like it feels authentic. It does, like it feels like either really authentic found footage or genuinely believable. And I will say, Dragon, that found footage is one of my favorite subgenres of horror, and I think it's just an underrated subgenre just in general. And I think movies like Chronicle kind of prove that you can do it well in other genres besides horror. So I gotta say, this is an interesting way to go about that kind of. This almost kind of combines horror and superhero in some ways with the found footage drama.
Which is why over the years I've been really excited to get you to watch this because the found footage.
Oh yeah.
Because I knew you're a big fan of the found footage.
I like me some found footage, Dragon.
And you're gonna go gaga for this.
Yeah, I like me a good found footage movie. Yes, please.
And so we have kind of almost a bit of an homage to the animated series title cards here. Where we have these special title cards where it's kind of an homage a little bit to the animated series, more so to the Dark Knight viral marketing campaign. Remember when Joker came out and he wrote the YSO series?
How could I forget?
This is exactly inspired by that, as you can tell. So he's painting the titles in blood, which is very scary, and we have like the creepy editing that kind of as he's just like therapy begins. All right, so we have the layout and the setup. It'll pretty much basically be for all the therapy sessions here, where it's they use the wall, the creepy corner of Scott McClure's basement to shoot these. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a sense of kind of claustrophobia, and also, I love how like the cream-colored wall. It just feels like very dingy, very institutional.
If Arkham is not exactly the nicest place to be, which I think was captured well. And again, it's kind of a less is more logic, which again, DC take note. Sometimes less is more. All right, so Dr. Quinzel is off camera, and there was a build in which at some point you will see Dr. Quinzel, but it's going to be you're going to have to earn that.
Ooh. Okay.
And again, so thematically, it's like we're getting closer to Dr. Quinzel, we're going to see a little bit more of her. It's so she's off camera, like to have like a professional arm's length tone is kind of the idea. So as she's like being all professional, Kira Westberg playing Harley Quinn. Well, sorry, playing Harleen Quinzel, I should say at this point.
Mm-hmm.
She tells, basically saying that, she tells patient 4479 to sit. Now, of course, you know the significance of patient 4479, don't you?
Oh, God, no, I don't. Tell me.
Heath Ledger's birthday.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
There's always, again, the tribute aspect of the show very much at play with, 4479. They never, I'm going to tell you this, they never call him Joker.
Ooh, okay, that's interesting.
Never.
Uh-huh.
Okay, only time he's you'll never hear it said is my. Anyway, okay, so all right, so we're very much mad love in the long term here with our therapy sessions, which how that story goes. We're kind of doing kind of a grounded Nolan long term sort of effect applied to it here. All right, so let's talk Scott McClure. So, look at overall, what's your take on Scott McClure, Joker?
I mean, I think he's just super convincing, man. I really do. I think one of the big things that you have to take away with Ledger's Joker is, first of all, the makeup is applied in just the perfect way where it's peeling. It doesn't look professional. It genuinely looks more like war paint. And that is one of the things that I feel like people sometimes when they cosplay as Heath Ledger Joker, they almost kind of get it too clean. And I feel like this is right on the money of just being gnarly and scary and almost inhuman while still being believable. Oh. And then as far as the voice goes, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, except it's pretty uncanny as far as I can tell.
It's just,
and I'm sure that going forward into the show, it's just going to get even better and better as he refines it.
It just feels like, remember those guys who did the Raiders of the Lost Ark fan film?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It just feels like they studied, like McClure and DeVary studied all the viral marketing, studied the Dark Knight, 8 Ways to Sunday. And they've kind of taken all the Joker scenes. That's all you have to work with, just all the Heath Ledger scenes, which it amounts to possibly at most maybe 30 minutes, probably less.
I think maybe 40 minutes total.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let's meet in the middle of, say, 35 or something. But,
all right, that's fair. That's fair.
So the point is, you have only so much time with the Heath Ledger performance, and they've kind of taken that and used it's woven into the series in a way that's not just beating you on the head, but if it does, it's kind of like a cheeky reference. But we're retrofitting and re-engineering, reverse engineering what we have from the Dark Knight, and kind of working into a performance. Because as it goes forward, you're going to see there's the Heath Ledger performance, but also we infuse an original. He kind of becomes his own performance as it goes on. It's kind of really interesting. But again, so. For example, right off the bat, she's, she would sit over there. Just sit over there. And of course, we build up the reveal as he's cut off from the head, and he just kind of plops on down for the shock and all. Oh my God, he's so uncanny.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's the fact that the eyes are so sunken, and the the red on the lipstick is almost kind of smeared at the edges. I mean, it's that's the thing. That's the key to Ledger Joker.
Perfectly imperfect.
It's got to look messy. Yeah, exactly.
So are you comfortable? No. Which again, it's just the perfect offbeat response. No. So then she tells him to address the camera. Now, what I love about this in the rewatch, bear in mind, rewatch is God, I can't count how many times.
Oh God.
So he addresses. So this whole address the camera thing, it's kind of twofold. One, it's very much classically the Joker breaks the fourth wall, and he always loves to play to a camera. Mm-hmm. So you have that kind of at play here, but also there is I would attest on the rewatch a bit of his behind the scenes plan through the show is formed in that moment where he knows there's a camera on him and he's going to make use of that again. Hence the some stuff we're going to tee up next episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we have the formality. She's playing it very by the book, giving the formalities, state your name for the record. Oh, of course, after address the camera. Hi.
I love when she says to state his name. He's like, well, why would I suddenly do that now, Harleen?
Of course, the professional, you'll address me as Dr. Quinzel. Then you can call me Mr. J. So Mr. J is the closest you're going to get the Joker.
And Dragon, I want to say too that I do think that one of the more compelling things that I think Nolan probably could have done in a hypothetical third Batman movie, post Ledger, would be basically to see a manipulated Harley Quinn where all the manipulation was done off screen, but we still get kind of like, we still feel the impact of Joker still, like this Harley Quinn is still very much like mind washed by Joker's rhetoric. How would you feel about that?
I gotta tell you, Tiki. I mean, I'm sure like there were all sorts of speculations about what the third Nolan film was going to be, especially knowing it was going to be something we never saw before. Which, of course, that completely went out the window when we had Catwoman and Bane, who we have absolutely seen before. But Tiki, seriously, that is an excellent pitch for like how you would go about that, because that's the way you. That's absolutely the way of like, okay, you still feel Ledger's presence.
Even you feel Ledger's presence, but at the same time, it's like, it's built, and it's also maybe kind of built on like if they really want to do the, Batman passing the torch, then you could thematically have like, like Harley Quinn is sort of like Joker's legacy going up against Batman's legacy, in a way.
Take it. I'm serious. I'm truly floored, but it's a really good idea.
Thank you, man. Really. I appreciate it.
Someone's been taking their smart pills today, and it's been. All right. So, all right, let's see. So, anyways, of course, after the whole Mr. J thing, so basically she lists, the official diagnosis, which, by the way, the diagnosis and also the medicines that are going to be attempted to give the Joker actually are founded. They did their research. They actually kind of a founded diagnosis and everything.
I have some notes for that, but we'll get there.
Well, we'll say maybe the next episode might win you over on that, but regardless, we have
no. I'm saying the thing, this thing auto plays. So at the very beginning of the next episode, like, I've actually been on one of the medications that he takes in episode 2, Dragon, believe it or not. Yeah, okay. So that'll be an interesting compare and contrast.
All right, well, we'll get there. All right, so let's see. So she listed out the diagnosis, which I believe is manic depression, delusions of grandeur. He's starting to get like grandeur. He's just starting to just kind of be insulted by antisocial personality. He says, "You make it sound so simple." And can we use a term other than the word prisoner? It has all these negative connotations, like someone's trying to keep me here. I like it here. And he's going to go and
leave. I like it. Roof over my head, free food, lovely company, and I'm not paying a cent for it.
Now, what's so great about this is it's not a lie at all. In that, essentially, Tiki, all of his goals are lined up in that sense. Essentially, because Harley's he's kind of fallen for Harley in this first episode, as you can kind of tell by the end of it.
Oh, so, of course.
So you have that in there with a lovely company, and again, long term, I mean, you'll see again. It pretty much he doesn't want to leave Arkham. We're going to find out why he doesn't want to leave Arkham, but yeah.
Well, I mean, even from the Arkham games, Dragon, I've always gotten the sense that, like, Arkham is almost kind of like a mix of like his crime palace and his playground. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You know what's crazy? Just speaking of the Arkham games, predates the first Arkham game.
What, this one does?
Yeah, this does.
That's impressive. I'm not surprised, but that's impressive.
I want to say the first batch of 8 really just I want to say all of that predates Arkham, but essentially you're going to lump in the Arkham games once it does have them. Like, so now they're going to have a logo which clearly is the Arkham game, which makes sense. You want a nice logo.
Sure.
So yeah. All right, so pretty much he's saying you don't have to pay a cent for it. Like, everything he needs is here. It's a Shangri-La, as you said. And of course she's trying to steer things back on focus here, get things on track. That was a track now. So the first step in rehabilitation is coming to terms with why you're here. Define your terms. Mm-hmm. The first step of any debate. This isn't a debate. I love, like, there's a really great dry wit to Harleen Quinzel, where it's like, this isn't a debate, it's therapy.
Yeah, she's trying really hard to just, like, because she knows that this guy is bullshitting her, it's like that, like, right off the bat, that's the dynamic that I can tell throughout the series we're going to kind of slowly crack is, like, off the top, it's like, no, I know exactly what this guy is trying to do, this guy's trying to get under my skin, kind of like, appear sympathetic or whatever. And I'm excited to see that break down, Dragon. Like I said, as a found footage fan, I can see the potential in that.
So Of course, the Dark Knight Joker. We know he loves to debate. He loves to get chatty like this.
Oh yeah! Imagine if the Dark Knight Joker had a podcast.
Oh God. Well, yeah. Hence the namesake, Tiki. I mean, the idea is kind of there was a website for the Joker blog, so essentially there was a blog. These videos, these YouTube videos, served as blog posts.
Okay, can I just say this? I'm sorry.
I know the vlogs.
I'm only gonna say it once. And then drop the issue entirely, just because it's the first episode. It bothers the hell out of me that it's the Joker blogs and not the Joker vlogs, because you do know that the correct terminology is in fact vlog and not blog. It is a video log. So
Tiki, I am very aware of that. I can only assume they really wanted it to be blogs because of the whole website angle. I'm pretty sure.
Fair enough. All right, moving on.
Anyway, okay, we'll go. I won't argue because I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
it's not that big of a deal, but it's kind of an OCT thing.
Yeah, I gotta tell you though, it looks really nice. There's the TJB, 3 very unrelated letters. I don't know. It kind of looks better than TJV. I don't know.
I hear you.
Anyway, okay, so all right, okay, so again, after the podcast. All right, okay. So Harleen calls out against not a debate, it's therapy, which then leads to essentially the premise of the episode where Joker deconstructs the premise of therapy. Because the other thing we know from the Dark Knight Joker, he doesn't respect therapy. Your little group therapy sessions. So again, he's really kind of the Joker does not respect therapy at all.
You hold in broad daylight? I mean, what's that about? Someone chop your balls off?
Your balls drop off? All right, so and then Joker's kind of basically calling out the process, pretty much like how the Ledger Joker called out Lau on the TV. It's kind of how we're mirroring again, that's what I'm saying, we're kind of retrofitting things quite nicely here, as he's like, again, really good dialogue, though. It's completely original. So he's like, these recordings are for the study, and a way for me to express my inner turmoil for the benefit of my mental health. But you really got to wonder about whoever's watching these and about their mental health.
Yeah, that's a great line, man. I feel like that's a good kind of like, it fits into the narrative of the show in regards to like, why are they recording him in the first place? What is the study for? But also, obviously, it's a little bit of a meta line of like, why is the audience watching this? Why are they so fascinated by it?
And Tika, that's the cool thing. There's like a really interactive and immersive aspect to the found footage angle in this that really gets called out wonderfully at times throughout the incursion. It's really interesting.
All right, I'm down for it.
Of course, he's warning, because I get to people. Trust me. Which, again, this is like a terrifying kind of premonition about, again, the premise of the show, very much kind of rooted in the Dark Knight, that we know from Harvey Dent, he gets to people, and that's...
Is it almost like, it almost kind of feels like we're going down like a Bates Motel kind of premise, Dragon? Where it's like, we know that the inevitable is going to happen, and we're just kind of like holding our breath, waiting for it to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Is that accurate?
That is accurate. It's definitely a slow burn, but it's there's for sure. All right, let's see. So okay, so anyway, so she's so Harleen is basically saying, so you don't think you have any real problems at all here? Well, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, no one's asking you to be perfect. There's no, you're just asking me to be different than who I am. And of course, I love Joker taking the opportunity to give a little PSA to the folks who may be watching. It's never a mistake to be who you are. And he points to the camera. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
The more you know.
Dun, 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 blood spatter.
Oh, God. All right.
So she's asking, why are you here? Which, of course, leads to, again, with the war pain of it all.
Yeah, I'm a prisoner of war. I love this, Dragon. You know why I love this? Is because, and I'm hoping that this whole thing kind of dives a little bit more into it, but one of my favorite film fan theories of all time that I very much subscribe to, Joker equals combat veteran, Dragon.
Yeah, I assume this was, I mean, do you recall, was the combat veteran theory, like, out around the time, like, after the movie was first released?
Oh, it was out, like, honestly, the teaser trailer had a shot of the Joker without the makeup with the gun. And so that was, it was out, like, that theory was out even before the movie came out. Like, that theory predates the actual movie.
I'm sure then, and if that's the case, then I'm absolutely certain then that absolutely that's what this whole, like, the whole prisoner of war angle's in reference to. It's got to be.
But I'm saying, like, does the show, like, dive into that more? Like, do we get a little bit, like, into the theory, or is it just kind of, like, passing references?
I mean, I think it's kind of a reference, and we do the thing. Let me put it this way: we do the thing later where we get ambiguous about Joker's backstory, so you never quite know. But yeah, so I think it's kind of a fun little nod to that. Anyway, so the whole Joker PTSD potential theory. Anyway, but he's just viewing himself. I'm a prisoner of war, caught behind enemy lines. It's temporarily taken out of the battle, and of course, I love this. It's the POW's duty to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god. So anyway, so Harley's just saying we can't progress like this, and of course we get the fun line like, "Sorry, Puddin', Dr. Quinzel." just getting a little bit of pudding in there for later.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I like how it's like just very much kind of like the first Inklings Dragon. I mean, right off the bat, I can tell this is going to be a journey, and I'm in for it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make the promise to you right now. Okay, this is going to be a journey. I can't promise that you're going to love. I can't promise you're going to be absolutely loving where we're going to end up. We're going to go in some really interesting places that are going to take you places beyond that point.
Okay, interesting.
I'm going to promise you that. It's going to get interesting, the journey we're going on here, but that's all. I don't want to wig you out too much of that. So, all right. So, and of course, we have just Harley going there. It's my job to treat you. Job? Is that what's really going to define us? Mm-hmm. Well, you wanted to define terms. Well, I'm a complicated guy, Doc.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, it's almost kind of like he almost kind of makes your skin crawl with the manipulation,
Speaking of skin crawling, one of my favorite things, the performance, especially in like these early episodes, his hands. I love how his hands are all kind of crawly in this first episode.
The hands are great. The lips are great. The lip smacking. I mean, all that is absolutely essential to pulling off a great Ledger. It's not just the look; it's the body language.
I can't quite place it. If I want to say, because there's some like there's some trial and error, very light error on like kind of the makeup for the scar. Because as you saw in the pilot, it was very much kind of like in it. They put it on his face. And I think they literally kind of do a paint. They essentially paint it on, which looks so much better and allows them to perform a lot more naturally. It seems. So I think that's kind of where they crack the code on like how to just make that perfect.
For sure.
All right, let's see. So Nemo says, "I'm a complicated guy, Doc, and I challenge the study. Well, I'm no creature of habit." Which then leads to the big moment, Tiki. And you know how big a moment this is. That's worked its way into our little prompt and here and there.
Oh, yeah.
She asked the big question, is there a method to the madness? And this, to me, is the moment where Joker really kind of falls head over heels for Harley Quinn.
I like you.
This could be fun.
Oh, man. Like, that right there, it's kind of like the Genesis moment, the light bulb moment right there. It's like, he was playing around with her at first because he plays around with everyone, but, like, that right there, you can tell, like, just based on the tone, the, just the quick turn of the head, the body language, it's like, okay, like, he has got his hooks in her, or at least that's his goal. And absolutely, I always felt it was like this lady's asking the big questions versus the usual questions, with that question being the first real example of that form. And that's where Joker's always looking, for a fun equal. Of course, the whole Batman Joker dynamic, and that's kind of like the first flag being planted there. This lady has an agenda, and I was just going to screw with her. But you know what? She's really she's entertaining me here. She's amusing me. I kind of like this. Of course, people have to do terrible things. That's where he gets the idea of helper, I guess, in part. Yeah.
People have to do terrible things to be put in here. I agree. Which means you're not so perfect yourself. Then we have, I think, the best delivery here, where it's just like, in your own words. Oh, sorry, after this point, like, so, in your own words, why are you here? Well, according to society, I've done bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Unacceptable things. And then we have like that. The last lines, what I'm referring to is like, so in all seriousness, why are you here? She's so exasperated. Like, in all seriousness, why are you here? Wrong choice of words with this guy. Never say seriously around the Joker.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm here. He just leans in because the body language, like, he's leaning back and forth during this whole thing.
It's so perfect. It is absolutely on point. Yeah.
Of course, we have this perfect creepy crescendo that we have. Again, a lot of the episodes kind of a creepy crescendo, which is kind of cool. Like, I'm here because I want to be here.
Oh yeah.
Is that dead serious addressment to the camera, and then we fritz out, and that's the end.
All right. So really quick, Dragon, final thoughts. I call McDonald's because I'm loving it.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I'm totally on board for this, Dragon. This is my jam. You were absolutely right. I'm so pleasantly surprised that this was what you were building me up towards because yeah, I mean it's horror, it's found footage, it's the Dark Knight, it's it seems to blend a whole lot of my little weird niche interests into one thing. And with the mystery of it, with kind of like the Bates Motel style, kind of like slow build up to what we know is inevitably going to happen, I am completely down for it, Dragon. Take me on this journey, sir.
All right. So, final thoughts for me. Very effective introduction of our premise. Of course, especially to our two leads or two main focuses, so to speak. It's a very logical aftermath for the Dark Knight. Again, just everything looks great. I just love the whole critique of therapy being a joke from the Joker's perspective, which again, Joker's absolutely going to manipulate as we go forward. It's going to be a fun ride, folks. Again, we're going to go places. To quote Dr. Crane, I never said there'd be places you wanted to go, but you're going to be glad to have gone on that journey. We're going to go to some places, and we're going to go beyond those places. I'm going to give you the full experience of what it was like to be there, boots on the ground, Tiki, in all senses of the word.
Sounds good.
It'll be a ride, man.
I'm excited. All right, well, our time's up, and it's time to reseal the further evidence. Until next time, when we attempt to answer the question, is there a method to the madness? With the Joker blog case study.
Seriously?